2Kings7. Then Elisha said, Hear the word of the Lord. Thus says the Lord, Tomorrow about this time a seah of fine flour shall be sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, at the gate of Samaria. Then Elisha said, Hear ye the word of the Lord, thus saith the Lord, Tomorrow about this time shall a measure of fine flour be sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, in the gate of Samaria. So an officer on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God and said, Look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could this thing be? And he said, In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. Then a lord on whose hand the king leaned answered the man of God, and said, Behold, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, might this thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. Now there were 4 leprous men at the entrance of the gate, and they said to one another, Why are we sitting here until we die? And there were 4 leprous men at the entering in of the gate, and they said one to another, Why sit we here until we die? If we say, We will enter the city, the famine is in the city, and we shall die there. And if we sit here, we die also. Now therefore, come, let us surrender to the army of the Syrians. If they keep us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall only die. If we say, We will enter into the city, then the famine is in the city, and we shall die there, and if we sit still here, we die also. Now therefore come, and let us fall unto the host of the Syrians, if they save us alive, we shall live, and if they kill us, we shall but die. And they rose at twilight to go to the camp of the Syrians, and when they had come to the outskirts of the Syrian camp, to their surprise no one was there. And they rose up in the twilight, to go unto the camp of the Syrians, and when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. For the Lord had caused the army of the Syrians to hear the noise of chariots and the noise of horses, the noise of a great army, so they said to one another, Look, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to attack us. For the Lord had made the host of the Syrians to hear a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, even the noise of a great host, and they said one to another, Lo, the king of Israel hath hired against us the kings of the Hittites, and the kings of the Egyptians, to come upon us. Therefore they arose and fled at twilight, and left the camp intact their tents, their horses, and their donkeys, and they fled for their lives. Wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents, and their horses, and their asses, even the camp as it was, and fled for their life. And when these lepers came to the outskirts of the camp, they went into one tent and ate and drank, and carried from it silver and gold and clothing, and went and hid them. Then they came back and entered another tent, and carried some from there also, and went and hid it. And when these lepers came to the uttermost part of the camp, they went into one tent, and did eat and drink, and carried thence silver, and gold, and raiment, and went and hid it, and came again, and entered into another tent, and carried thence also, and went and hid it. Then they said to one another, We are not doing right. This day is a day of good news, and we remain silent. If we wait until morning light, some punishment will come upon us. Now therefore, come, let us go and tell the king's household. Then they said one to another, We do not well, this day is a day of good tidings, and we hold our peace. If we tarry till the morning light, some mischief will come upon us. Now therefore come, that we may go and tell the king's household. So they went and called to the gatekeepers of the city, and told them, saying, We went to the Syrian camp, and surprisingly no one was there, not a human sound, only horses and donkeys tied, and the tents intact. So they came and called unto the porter of the city, and they told them, saying, We came to the camp of the Syrians, and, behold, there was no man there, neither voice of man, but horses tied, and asses tied, and the tents as they were. And the gatekeepers called out, and they told it to the king's household inside. And he called the porters, and they told it to the king's house within. So the king arose in the night and said to his servants, Let me now tell you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we are hungry, therefore they have gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, When they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive, and get into the city. And the king arose in the night, and said unto his servants, I will now shew you what the Syrians have done to us. They know that we be hungry, therefore are they gone out of the camp to hide themselves in the field, saying, when they come out of the city, we shall catch them alive, and get into the city. And one of his servants answered and said, Please, let several men take 5 of the remaining horses which are left in the city. Look, they may either become like all the multitude of Israel that are left in it, or indeed, I say, they may become like all the multitude of Israel left from those who are consumed, so let us send them and see. And one of his servants answered and said, Let some take, I pray thee, 5 of the horses that remain, which are left in the city, behold, they are as all the multitude of Israel that are left in it, behold, I say, they are even as all the multitude of the Israelites that are consumed, and let us send and see. Therefore they took 2 chariots with horses, and the king sent them in the direction of the Syrian army, saying, Go and see. They took therefore 2 chariot horses, and the king sent after the host of the Syrians, saying, Go and see. And they went after them to the Jordan, and indeed all the road was full of garments and weapons which the Syrians had thrown away in their haste. So the messengers returned and told the king. And they went after them unto Jordan, and, lo, all the way was full of garments and vessels, which the Syrians had cast away in their haste. And the messengers returned, and told the king. Then the people went out and plundered the tents of the Syrians. So a seah of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. And the people went out, and spoiled the tents of the Syrians. So a measure of fine flour was sold for a shekel, and 2 measures of barley for a shekel, according to the word of the Lord. Now the king had appointed the officer on whose hand he leaned to have charge of the gate. But the people trampled him in the gate, and he died, just as the man of God had said, who spoke when the king came down to him. And the king appointed the Lord on whose hand he leaned to have the charge of the gate, and the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died, as the man of God had said, who spake when the king came down to him. So it happened just as the man of God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 seahs of barley for a shekel, and a seah of fine flour for a shekel, shall be sold tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. And it came to pass as the man of God had spoken to the king, saying, 2 measures of barley for a shekel, and a measure of fine flour for a shekel, shall be tomorrow about this time in the gate of Samaria. Then that officer had answered the man of God, and said, Now look, if the Lord would make windows in heaven, could such a thing be? And he had said, In fact, you shall see it with your eyes, but you shall not eat of it. And that Lord answered the man of God, and said, Now, behold, if the Lord should make windows in heaven, might such a thing be? And he said, Behold, thou shalt see it with thine eyes, but shalt not eat thereof. And so it happened to him, for the people trampled him in the gate, and he died. And so it fell out unto him, for the people trode upon him in the gate, and he died. 2 Kings 8. Then Elisha spoke to the woman whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise and go, you and your household, and stay wherever you can, for the Lord has called for a famine, and furthermore, it will come upon the land for 7 years. Then spake Elisha unto the woman, whose son he had restored to life, saying, Arise, and go thou and thine household, and sojourn wheresoever thou canst sojourn, for the Lord hath called for a famine, and it shall also come upon the land 7 years. So the woman arose and did according to the saying of the man of God, and she went with her household and dwelt in the land of the Philistines 7 years. And the woman arose, and did after the saying of the man of God, and she went with her household, and sojourned in the land of the Philistines 7 years. It came to pass, at the end of 7 years, that the woman returned from the land of the Philistines, and she went to make an appeal to the king for her house and for her land. And it came to pass at the 7 years' end, that the woman returned out of the land of the Philistines, and she went forth to cry unto the king for her house and for her land. Then the king talked with Gehazi, the servant of the man of God, saying, Tell me, please, all the great things Elisha has done. And the king talked with Gehazi the servant of the man of God, saying, Tell me, I pray thee, all the great things that Elisha hath done. Now it happened, as he was telling the king how he had restored the dead to life, that there was the woman whose son he had restored to life, appealing to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son whom Elisha restored to life. And it came to pass, as he was telling the king how he had restored a dead body to life, that, behold, the woman, whose son he had restored to life, cried to the king for her house and for her land. And Gehazi said, My lord, O king, this is the woman, and this is her son, whom Elisha restored to life. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed a certain officer for her, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the proceeds of the field from the day that she left the land until now. And when the king asked the woman, she told him. So the king appointed unto her a certain officer, saying, Restore all that was hers, and all the fruits of the field since the day that she left the land, even until now. Then Elisha went to Damascus, and Benhadad king of Syria was sick, and it was told him, saying, The man of God has come here. And Elisha came to Damascus, and Benhadad the king of Syria was sick, and it was told him, saying, The man of God is come hither. And the king said to Hazael, Take a present in your hand, and go to meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, Shall I recover from this disease? And the king said unto Hazael, Take a present in thine hand, and go, meet the man of God, and inquire of the Lord by him, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? So Hazael went to meet him and took a present with him, of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camel loads. And he came and stood before him, and said, Your son Benhadad king of Syria has sent me to you, saying, Shall I recover from this disease? So Hazael went to meet him, and took a present with him, even of every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels' burden, and came and stood before him, and said, Thy son Benhadad king of Syria hath sent me to thee, saying, Shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha said to him, Go, say to him, You shall certainly recover. However, the Lord has shown me that he will really die. And Elisha said unto him, Go, say unto him, Thou mayest certainly recover, howbeit the Lord hath shewed me that he shall surely die. Then he set his countenance in a stare until he was ashamed, and the man of God wept. And he settled his countenance steadfastly, until he was ashamed, and the man of God wept. And Hazael said, Why is my Lord weeping? He answered, Because I know the evil that you will do to the children of Israel, their strongholds you will set on fire, and their young men you will kill with the sword, and you will dash their children, and rip open their women with child. And Hazael said, Why weepeth my Lord? And he answered, Because I know the evil that thou wilt do unto the children of Israel, their strongholds wilt thou set on fire, and their young men wilt thou slay with the sword, and wilt dash their children, and rip up their women with child. So Hazael said, But what is your servant a dog, that he should do this gross thing? And Elisha answered, The Lord has shown me that you will become king over Syria. And Hazael said, But what, is thy servant a dog, that he should do this great thing? And Elisha answered, The Lord hath shewed me that thou shalt be king over Syria. Then he departed from Elisha, and came to his master, who said to him, What did Elisha say to you? And he answered, He told me you would surely recover. So he departed from Elisha, and came to his master, who said to him, What said Elisha to thee? And he answered, He told me that thou shouldest surely recover. But it happened on the next day that he took a thick cloth and dipped it in water, and spread it over his face so that he died, and Hazael reigned in his place. And it came to pass on the morrow, that he took a thick cloth, and dipped it in water, and spread it on his face, so that he died, and Hazael reigned in his stead. Now in the 5th year of Joram the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat having been king of Judah, Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat began to reign as king of Judah. And in the 5th year of Joram the son of Ahab king of Israel, Jehoshaphat being then king of Judah, Jehoram the son of Jehoshaphat king of Judah began to reign. He was 32 years old when he became king, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. 32 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, just as the house of Ahab had done, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab, for the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord. Yet the Lord would not destroy Judah, for the sake of his servant David, as he promised him to give a lamp to him and his sons forever. Yet the Lord would not destroy Judah for David his servant's sake, as he promised him to give him alway a light, and to his children. In his days Edom revolted against Judah's authority, and made a king over themselves. In his days Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah, and made a king over themselves. So Joram went to Zair, and all his chariots with him. Then he rose by night and attacked the Edomites who had surrounded him and the captains of the chariots, and the troops fled to their tents. So Joram went over to Zair, and all the chariots with him, and he rose by night, and smote the Edomites which compassed him about, and the captains of the chariots, and the people fled into their tents. Thus Edom has been in revolt against Judah's authority to this day. And Libnah revolted at that time. Yet Edom revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. Then Libnah revolted at the same time. Now the rest of the acts of Joram, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the rest of the acts of Joram, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? So Joram rested with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David. Then Ahaziah his son reigned in his place. And Joram slept with his fathers, and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. In the 12th year of Joram the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Ahaziah the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, began to reign. In the 12th year of Joram the son of Ahab king of Israel did Ahaziah the son of Jehoram king of Judah begin to reign. Ahaziah was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Athaliah the granddaughter of Omri, king of Israel. 22 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Athaliah, the daughter of Omri king of Israel. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the sight of the Lord, like the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. And he walked in the way of the house of Ahab, and did evil in the sight of the Lord, as did the house of Ahab, for he was the son-in-law of the house of Ahab. Now he went with Joram the son of Ahab to war against Hazael king of Syria at Ramoth-Gilead, and the Syrians wounded Joram. And he went with Joram the son of Ahab to the war against Hazael king of Syria in Ramoth-Gilead, and the Syrians wounded Joram. Then King Joram went back to Jezreel to recover from the wounds which the Syrians had inflicted on him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael king of Syria. And Ahaziah the son of Jehoram, king of Judah, went down to see Joram the son of Ahab in Jezreel, because he was sick. And King Joram went back to be healed in Jezreel of the wounds which the Syrians had given him at Ramah, when he fought against Hazael king of Syria. And Ahaziah the son of Jehoram king of Judah went down to see Joram the son of Ahab in Jezreel, because he was sick. Matthew 27. When morning came, all the chief priests and elders of the people plotted against Jesus to put him to death. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate the governor. And when they had bound him, they led him away, and delivered him to Pontius Pilate the governor. Then Judas, his betrayer, seeing that he had been condemned, was remorseful and brought back the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned by betraying innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? You see to it. Saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. Then he threw down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and hanged himself. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple, and departed, and went and hanged himself. But the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful to put them into the treasury, because they are the price of blood. And the chief priests took the silver pieces, and said, It is not lawful for to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. And they consulted together and bought with them the potter's field, to bury strangers in. And they took counsel, and bought with them the potter's field, to bury strangers in. Therefore that field has been called the field of blood to this day. Wherefore that field was called, the field of blood, unto this day. Then was fulfilled what was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the value of him who was priced, whom they of the children of Israel priced. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremy the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord directed me. And gave them for the potter's field, as the Lord appointed me. Now Jesus stood before the governor. And the governor asked him, saying, Are you the king of the Jews? Jesus said to him, It is as you say. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the king of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then Pilate said to him, Do you not hear how many things they testify against you? Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? But he answered him not one word, so that the governor marveled greatly. And he answered him to never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Now at the feast the governor was accustomed to releasing to the multitude one prisoner whom they wished. Now at that feast the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner, whom they would. And at that time they had a notorious prisoner called Barabbas. And they had then a notable prisoner, called Barabbas. Therefore, when they had gathered together, Pilate said to them, Whom do you want me to release to you? Barabbas, or Jesus who is called Christ? Therefore when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you? Barabbas, or Jesus which is called Christ? For he knew that they had handed him over because of envy. For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. While he was sitting on the judgment seat, his wife sent to him, saying, Have nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things today in a dream because of him. When he was set down on the judgment seat, his wife sent unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with that just man, for I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitudes that they should ask for Barabbas and destroy Jesus. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas, and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said to them, Which of the two do you want me to release to you? They said, Barabbas. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain will ye that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, What then shall I do with Jesus who is called Christ? They all said to him, Let him be crucified. Pilate saith unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus which is called Christ? They all say unto him, Let him be crucified. Then the governor said, Why, what evil has he done? But they cried out all the more, saying, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why, what evil hath he done? But they cried out the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could not prevail at all, but rather that a tumult was rising, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. You see to it. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water, and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person, see ye to it. And all the people answered and said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then answered all the people, and said, His blood be on us, and on our children. Then he released Barabbas to them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then released he Barabbas unto them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered the whole garrison around him. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall, and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe on him. And they stripped him, and put on him a scarlet robe. When they had twisted a crown of thorns, they put it on his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And when they had platted a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head, and a reed in his right hand, and they bowed the knee before him, and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! Then they spat on him, and took the reed and struck him on the head. And they spit upon him, and took the reed, and smote him on the head. And when they had mocked him, they took the robe off him, put his own clothes on him, and led him away to be crucified. And after that they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him, and put his own raiment on him, and led him away to crucify him. Now as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name, him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they had come to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of a skull. And when they were come unto a place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, they gave him sour wine mingled with gall to drink. But when he had tasted it, he would not drink. They gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall, and when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. Then they crucified him, and divided his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, they divided my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. And they crucified him, and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet, they parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. Sitting down, they kept watch over him there. And sitting down they watched him there. And they put up over his head the accusation written against him, This is Jesus the King of the Jews. And set up over his head his accusation written, This is Jesus the King of the Jews. Then 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and another on the left. Then were there 2 thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand, and another on the left. And those who passed by blasphemed him, wagging their heads. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads. And saying, You who destroy the temple and build it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross. And saying, Thou that destroyest the temple, and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross. Likewise the chief priests also, mocking with the scribes and elders, said. Likewise also the chief priests mocking him, with the scribes and elders, said. He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he is the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him, for he said, I am the Son of God. Even the robbers who were crucified with him reviled him with the same thing. The thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour until the 9th hour there was darkness over all the land. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, that is, my God, why have you forsaken me? And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani? That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Some of those who stood there, when they heard that, said, This man is calling for Elijah. Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, This man calleth for Elias. Immediately one of them ran and took a sponge, filled it with sour wine and put it on a reed, and offered it to him to drink. And straightway one of them ran, and took a sponge, and filled it with vinegar, and put it on a reed, and gave him to drink. The rest said, Let him alone, let us see if Elijah will come to save him. The rest said, Let be, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice, and yielded up his spirit. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. Then, behold, the veil of the temple was torn in 2 from top to bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were split. And, behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose. And coming out of the graves after his resurrection, they went into the holy city and appeared to many. And came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. So when the centurion and those with him, who were guarding Jesus, saw the earthquake and the things that had happened, they feared greatly, saying, "Truly this was the Son of God." Now when the centurion, and they that were with him, watching Jesus, saw the earthquake, and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, "Truly this was the Son of God." And many women who followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, were there looking on from afar. And many women were there beholding afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering unto him. Among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joses, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. Among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and Joses, and the mother of Zebedee's children. Now when evening had come, there came a rich man from Arimathea, named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. When the even was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea, named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. This man went to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be given to him. He went to Pilate, and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. When Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and laid it in his new tomb which he had hewn out of the rock, and he rolled a large stone against the door of the tomb, and departed. And laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock, and he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre, and departed. And Mary Magdalene was there, and the other Mary, sitting opposite the tomb. And there was Mary Magdalene, and the other Mary, sitting over against the sepulchre. On the next day, which followed the day of preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees gathered together to Pilate. Now the next day, that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came together unto Pilate, saying, "Sir, we remember, while he was still alive, how that deceiver said, After 3 days I will rise." Saying, "Sir, we remember that that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, After 3 days I will rise again. Therefore command that the tomb be made secure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say to the people, He is risen from the dead." So the last deception will be worse than the first. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night, and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead, so the last error shall be worse than the first. Pilate said to them, "You have a guard, go your way, make it as secure as you know how." Pilate said unto them, "Ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as ye can." So they went and made the tomb secure, sealing the stone and setting the guard. So they went, and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone, and setting a watch. Matthew 28. Now after the Sabbath, as the 1st day of the week began to dawn, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary came to see the tomb. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the 1st day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat on it. And, behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat upon it. His countenance was like lightning, and his clothing as white as snow. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. And the guards shook for fear of him, and became like dead men. And for fear of him the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. But the angel answered and said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you seek Jesus who was crucified. And the angel answered and said unto the women, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and indeed he is going before you into Galilee, there you will see him. Behold, I have told you. And go quickly, and tell his disciples that he is risen from the dead, and, behold, he goeth before you into Galilee, there shall ye see him, lo, I have told you." So they went out quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to bring his disciples word. And they departed quickly from the sepulchre with fear and great joy, and did run to bring his disciples word. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, Rejoice. So they came and held him by the feet and worshipped him. And as they went to tell his disciples, behold, Jesus met them, saying, All hail. And they came and held him by the feet, and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brethren to go to Galilee, and there they will see me. Then said Jesus unto them, Be not afraid, go tell my brethren that they go into Galilee, and there shall they see me. Now while they were going, behold, some of the guard came into the city and reported to the chief priests all the things that had happened. Now when they were going, behold, some of the watch came into the city, and shewed unto the chief priests all the things that were done. When they had assembled with the elders and consulted together, they gave a large sum of money to the soldiers. And when they were assembled with the elders, and had taken counsel, they gave large money unto the soldiers, saying, Tell them, his disciples came at night and stole him away while we slept. Saying, Say ye, his disciples came by night, and stole him away while we slept. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will appease him and make you secure. And if this come to the governor's ears, we will persuade him, and secure you. So they took the money and did as they were instructed, and this saying is commonly reported among the Jews until this day. So they took the money, and did as they were taught, and this saying is commonly reported among the Jews until this day. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, to the mountain which Jesus had appointed for them. Then the 11 disciples went away into Galilee, into a mountain where Jesus had appointed them. When they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, but some doubted. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. And Jesus came and spake unto them, saying, All power is given unto me in heaven and in earth. Go therefore and make disciples of all the nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit. Go ye therefore, and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Ghost, teaching them to observe all things that I have commanded you, and lo, I am with you always, even to the end of the age. Amen. Teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you, and, lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. Proverbs 10. The Proverbs of Solomon, a wise son makes a glad father, but a foolish son is the grief of his mother. The Proverbs of Solomon. A wise son mocketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivers from death. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. The Lord will not allow the righteous soul to famish, but he casts away the desire of the wicked. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. He who has a slack hand becomes poor, but the hand of the diligent makes rich. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. He who gathers in summer is a wise son, he who sleeps in harvest is a son who causes shame. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. Blessings are on the head of the righteous, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the righteous is blessed, but the name of the wicked will rot. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commands, but a prating fool will fall. The wise in heart will receive commandments, but a prating fool shall fall. He who walks with integrity walks securely, but he who perverts his ways will become known. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known. He who winks with the eye causes trouble, but a prating fool will fall. He that winketh with the eye causeth sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall. The mouth of the righteous is a well of life, but violence covers the mouth of the wicked. The mouth of a righteous man is a well of life, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all sins. Hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all sins. Wisdom is found on the lips of him who has understanding, but a rod is for the back of him who is devoid of understanding. In the lips of him that hath understanding wisdom is found, but a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Wise people store up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, the destruction of the poor is their poverty. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, the destruction of the poor is their poverty. The labor of the righteous leads to life, the wages of the wicked to sin. The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the fruit of the wicked to sin. He who keeps instruction is in the way of life, but he who refuses correction goes astray. He is in the way of life that keepeth instruction, but he that refuseth reproof erreth. Whoever hides hatred has lying lips, and whoever spreads slander is a fool. He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander, is a fool. In the multitude of words sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise. In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. The tongue of the righteous is choice silver, the heart of the wicked is worth little. The tongue of the just is as choice silver, the heart of the wicked is little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for lack of wisdom. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. The blessing of the Lord makes one rich, and he adds no sorrow with it. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. To do evil is like sport to a fool, but a man of understanding has wisdom. It is a sport to a fool to do mischief, but a man of understanding hath wisdom. The fear of the wicked will come upon him, and the desire of the righteous will be granted. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. When the whirlwind passes by, the wicked is no more, but the righteous has an everlasting foundation. As the whirlwind passeth, so is the wicked no more, but the righteous is an everlasting foundation. As vinegar to the teeth and smoke to the eyes, so is the lazy man to those who send him. As vinegar to the teeth, and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. The fear of the Lord prolongs days, but the years of the wicked will be shortened. The fear of the Lord prolongeth days, but the years of the wicked shall be shortened. The hope of the righteous will be gladness, but the expectation of the wicked will perish. The hope of the righteous shall be gladness, but the expectation of the wicked shall perish. The way of the Lord is strength for the upright, but destruction will come to the workers of iniquity. The way of the Lord is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. The righteous will never be removed, but the wicked will not inhabit the earth. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but the perverse tongue will be cut out. The mouth of the just bringeth forth wisdom, but the froward tongue shall be cut out. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked what is perverse. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness.